Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship. We're coming to you live tonight from Virginia International Raceway for the VIR 150, and before we get into it, I'd like to welcome Daniel Leet back to the Combox. Welcome Daniel, it looks like we're going to be in for an exciting night.
Yeah, g'day Bernie, welcome viewers. Definitely going to be a really nice night tonight, nice clear track conditions, so boys are going to put on a really good show for us.
Yeah, they certainly are, and the guys are out there qualifying at the moment, folks. But before we get into that, let's have a look at our point score and see where the drivers are standing at the moment. Well, hang on a second, that didn't come up. Just bear with me for a moment. There's something bizarre going on here. Okay, there we go. So having a look at the overall drivers' standings at the moment, Ian Ford from Evolution Racing Team 1 is leading after 13 races. He's had 6 wins, 12 top 10s, and he's sitting on 2,999 points. 179 points behind him is his teammate Riley Blythe. He's from Evolution Racing Team 2. And he's sitting in second position. Sitting in third is Luke Harvey from Evolution Racing Team 1, and he is 435 points behind the lead at the moment. He's had 11 races, 3 wins, 9 top 10s. Sitting in fourth is Jaden Borg, Laser Racing 3, and he's 920 points behind Ian Ford. And then rounding out your top 5 is Pete Sattler for Stealth Sim Sport 1, and he's had 7 top 10 finishes. So Daniel, it's looking like Evolution Racing Australia is dominant at the moment in the drivers' standings.
Yeah, definitely. They've definitely doing extremely well. 3 cars, 1, 2 and 3, so near enough to 400 point spread between the 3, but very, very tight. And it's good to see a couple of others too, Brian and Peter, for other teams that are coming up and giving them a good challenge as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely showing a healthy standings, as we can see Michael Hammond going out and hitting the wall on the straight. I'm not sure what happened there. It's a long way to the wall from the front start finish line here.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one, that one, but there's going to be a few interesting off-tracks, I think, tonight, especially with the flow of this circuit. Probably more so over the roller coasters towards the end of the lap. There's going to be definitely a lot of either tyres off on the dirt or cars just running wide in general, I think, there as well.
Yeah, it's VIR is quite a tricky track, as Steve Varga just found out in the 868 as he loops it. And with 40 cars around here tonight, I think there's going to be a lot of action, possibly a little bit of carnage, but hopefully not too much.
Yeah, look, no one wants to see big wrecks. I think lap 1, definitely going to be a lot of side-to-side. There's probably some of the more technical section of this course, and then towards the back end, especially on the back straight, it's going to spread out a bit more. So if we get a nice clean start, I think easy 2 cars through most of it, maybe 1, and it'll just be a matter of the guys giving each other room and sort of knowing who's around them as well.
Yeah, that's right, and these guys have raced against each other now for 13 rounds, so they pretty much know each other's driving style and be able to pick where they're going to position the car. So hopefully they'll keep everyone out of trouble. But looking at our track guide tonight, folks, Virginia International Raceway, of course that's not our layout for it, that's dearie me, that looks like Circuit Villeneuve. But anyway, total turns tonight 20. It's track length, it's 5 kilometres. The weather out there today is mostly cloudy with a track temp 31 degrees Celsius and a wind speed of 14 kilometres an hour. So it's not too bad out there.
No, these are really nice running conditions. It'll be good on the cars, the tyres. There'll be nice grip out there for everyone to sort of make the most of. So matter of just get those tyre pressures dialed in for the race start and blaze on, I guess.
Yeah, exactly right. And they're out there at the moment. We can see. I'm looking at the wrong screen. I'm having a shocker tonight.
Look, it's a Friday, mate. These things happen, unfortunately. But even for the current qualifying positions we've got, Ian Ford from Evolution Racing, he's dipped into a 146.85. Second place, Luke Harvey, 147.3. So, 5/10 of a difference out there. That's a pretty big spread just to begin with.
Yeah, it certainly is. Ian's the only one in the 146s. He was also the fastest time setter in practice, which they've just completed as well. So he's going to be pretty hard to beat as far as the race goes for setting the grid tonight. Yeah,
definitely. And like even the guys that are running in the 47s, from position 3 down to, nearly position 10, you've only got 7/10 of a second covering those guys, which is going to make for some really tight racing. But Ian Ford and Luke are definitely sort of skipped out a bit further from everyone else as far as qualifying is concerned.
Oh, definitely. And if we tell you the top 10 now, folks, you can see if your favourite driver's in there. So, as we said, Ian Ford, provisional pole with the 146.860. Luke Harvey sitting in second at the moment, followed by Sam Blacklock in third. Michael Hammond at the moment sitting down there in fourth, followed by Brian Borg. Michael Cracknell, he's qualified 6th provisionally, and then Craig Jones is sitting in 7th. Jaden Borg 8th, followed by Henry King, he's in the Zuva Racing entry, in 9th, and Michael Ford rounds out your top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, and there's not a lot between these guys. Like we said, where we got position 3 down to 10, you're only looking less than 5/10 of a second. So these guys get a nice draft on that back straight, or even crossing the line with good drive. They've got a chance to jump 2 to 3 places here pretty quickly.
Oh, for sure, and we saw a bit of that in practice. The guys were practicing some towing techniques, getting in the slipstream up the back straight there and seeing if they could make that work. And I tell you what, a field of 40 tonight, this must be one of the biggest fields we've seen in AOSC, although we always do see a great turnout. But I guess the sprint rounds, you're going to get a lot of cars, aren't you, because the teams put 2 cars in.
Well, a minimum 2 cars, your drivers aren't pairing up, or you're not having to find drivers outside the series to come assist, but it's good. I mean, I'm sure there have got to be some teams here that have got 5-6 cars out on the field, so you add a few of those in, and it definitely spreads the numbers a lot more.
Yeah, it certainly does, and tonight it's going to be interesting, isn't it, as far as strategy goes. We'll bring that up now, so we can go through this with the viewers. So yeah, it's Nick's done a great job here on all the overlays again. Having a look at it, 28 laps tonight, and the pit window looks like it's opening up on lap 10 and closing at lap 18. So we're expecting a one-stop strategy here tonight, Daniel, and I guess they're going to throw tyres on them as well. They don't lose anything from doing that.
No, not at all. You got plenty of time to put a set of rubber around the car on this one. And what do we got? 8 laps for the fuel window. That's pretty decent. So, the guys that want to short run it and try and run it a little longer towards the end, they might have not the best tyre conditions, but they definitely got the chance to jump those longer runners on the opening stint as well.
Oh, definitely. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys play it. So we're looking at the tank size tonight. 75 litres is their limit. They're going to burn around about 4.1 litres per lap. Total stops required tonight, 1. Of course, no driver changes sprint round. As far as safety cars go, though, Daniel, how many of those are we expecting tonight?
There will just be the one safety car, but it's a random one. So there's only one guy in the field who has an idea where it is. He's not racing, but it'll be good. It'll open up the strategy window. No one knows what's happening, and it may come before the stops, come after or during. So plenty of, if anything, can happen. So.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing is, we saw last week on the Enduro rounds, if a car gets in trouble in the first lap, they normally pull a safety car out. I think it was on lap 3 or 4. I'm not sure if that actually happens in sprint rounds. Do you know if they do that, or if it's the races are too short to necessitate that sort of thing?
No, I am of the understanding they will pull one in the opening lap if it's obviously a major incident, just so that everyone gets a fair shot at it. If it happens sort of 2 to 3 laps in, I believe it's just let it run and play its course.
Yeah, because this race is going to be pretty much over. I'm estimating from the green flag to the checkered, I reckon we're going to be done within probably the hour.
Yeah, pretty close to. Well, I mean, the boys are a minute 47, so I think the call of an hour is pretty good.
Yeah, 45 minutes, 50 minutes an hour, we'll see how we go. And of course, welcome to everyone that's tuning into our live broadcast tonight. Hopefully you got your beers all out and you're rested on the couch and ready to enjoy our coverage.
Oh, geez, a beer would go quite nice right now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it certainly would.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. I think you're going to see a few crazy things with qualifying. Guys are probably just pushing a little too hard at the moment, but I think race time, everyone will sort of settle in. There'll be a nice, consistent flow, hopefully, and there's hopefully no hardware failures or miscommunications between guys and big wrecks.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember years and years ago, I won't say the name of the person, but it was quite a famous incident here in iRacing where one of the pole sitters were on the grid ready to start a race here, and they started in reverse and caused a bit of a wreck. And it was just, they just misgeared.
I don't even remember actually hearing about that. I'd love to find a video of that if that's about and have a look, because it's not something you see all the time. I've done the odd one where I've gone to turn the car off to try and save fuel and then it wouldn't start again. That's probably the worst I've ever experienced.
Yeah, this was on one of the V8's online coverages, so have a look at their classic V8 Supercar coverages of VIR, and you're bound to find it.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to have to go have a look after this race, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It was. I was watching the live broadcast because in those days I didn't do any broadcasting, and I nearly fell off my seat. I couldn't believe what I saw, but they interviewed the driver, and he just said, it's one of those things where I thought I was in first, and I wasn't, and there was a bit of a wreck. So hopefully we're not going to see any of that tonight.
Oh no, let's hope not. I'm just having a look here. Have you seen Ian Ford's time? He's dipped down to a 1:46.53. That's lightning quick around this place.
Yeah, it certainly is, and he's not out there at the moment. I think he's got out of the car, so he's pretty confident, and he should be, because he's the only person in the 146s, and he's got about a second gap over Luke Harvey that we can see here. He's the next fastest time, a 1:47.573, and then it starts closing up. Sam Blacklock 1/10 of a second behind him, and we can see him coming up the straight now, pushing hard to try to improve, and they're running out of time, aren't they? They're just about, where are we at? 9:29, so they've probably only got about a minute of qualifying left.
Yeah, just on the minute now, so some of these guys might be lucky to get a final lap in if the tyres aren't too bad, or if they've played it lucky, even come out with a nice fresh set. So we may see someone challenge that time, but you're going to need to have the car in a really nice draft and be able to control it through those roller coasters as well.
Yeah, exactly right. We just saw Sam come across the line now. He did not improve. He actually had an off track, so I think he's going again.
Yeah, he's just inside the time, but the car looked a little loose getting out through turn 1 as well, so that may affect him a bit, but I think he's actually backed out of that now, just looking at it.
Yeah, he has, and we can see Mick Cracknell here coming around. Where is he? Turn 1. He's sitting in 4th. His last time a 1:47.808. His best time a 1:47.787. So they're not actually improving. They're they're around about the right time, but they're just not getting faster times at the moment.
No, and that's hard too, because it could be a few things that are causing that, either being stuck up behind another driver, or slightly missing your marks just a touch, or a little bit too much throttle. But they're still within 4 thousandths of a second, so quite quick at the moment.
Yeah, certainly, and we can see him just coming up behind the VPC sponsored car now, and the checkered flag is out, so this will be his last lap, and we'll be able to go through the grid. In fact, I'm thinking we should start going through the grid now because it's quite a big one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be there a little while.
Yeah, so this is the way the grid is set at the moment, folks. Ian Ford will start from pole position with a scorching 1:46.534. Luke Harvey will start out as second tonight. Sam Blacklock will start out of third, followed by Michael Cracknell in fourth. Out of fifth tonight, that is Brian Borg. Sixth will be Michael Hammond, followed by Jaden Borg in seventh. Craig Jones will start in eighth tonight, followed by Henry King. And Daniel Trim, he starts out at 10, and that's your top 10.
Yeah, it didn't look like Michael was not able to improve on his lap, that last one. There was a little bit of interference from the car in front, but yeah, here we go. We get ready for a race start, and hopefully we're in for a bit of fun.
Certainly will, and we'll go through the rest of the grid here. Wayne Taylor will start out of 11th. Michael Ford qualified in 12th tonight. Thomas Hins, he'll start out of 13th, followed by Sean Thompson in 14th. Pete Sattler, he will start out of 15th tonight. Out of 16th will be Adam Wyburn, followed by Nathan Tregarthen. Brodie Maris will start out of 18th. 19th is Sean Chappell, followed by Kai Sloggett in 20th.
Yeah, in 21st we got Matthew Collett. 22nd is Paul Tajvara. 23rd, Shane Raynor. 24th we got Damien Carr. 25 is Brendan Bateman. 26 is Jamie Owens. Starting 27th is Brent O'Brien. 28th is Jamie McKnight. 29th we got Stephen Varga. And position 30 we got Mark Fee.
Out of 31st will be Matt Stratford, followed by Tony Gaffer in 32nd. Matt Torkins will start out of 33rd, and Darryl Hockey will start out of 34th. 35th is Jason Bentz. Out of 36th tonight will be Tony Pincarn, followed by Brady Mayers in 37th. Alan Holgerson will start out of 38th. Josh Burden down there in 39th, and of course Nick Hassler. Well, I don't think he's running. He could be, but if we look at that from 36 down, they did not set a time.
Yeah, now I'm not sure if these guys are actually still in the session having a run, or whether they may have pulled the pin a little early, but 6 cars there that haven't set a time. They're going to have a lot of work to do coming from the back.
Certainly will, and one of our viewers has asked who's driving the Purple Performance Motorsport car, so that can be your homework, Daniel, to find out who's driving that one.
Yeah, no worries, I'll start hunting the grid now.
So we'll be racing here very shortly, folks. I'm just resetting all our cameras and getting ready to call this race. So I think I'm just having a look further up. It's I can't get the number of that car though.
Yeah, there's one purple one on the grid which looks like Michael Ford.
Yeah, I think it's Michael Ford. I'm having a look also, Ian Ford, he's just joined up there, but there's a lot of cars still not on the grid at the moment.
No, everyone's probably going to wait for the last minute to make sure they got a decent tyre starting pressure as well.
Yeah, we can see the grid now just lining up. They're all starting to jump in now. Our focus is on Ian Ford. He's got his teammate on the outside, different team car, but the same team, if that makes sense. And that's Luke Harvey on the outside there. So who's your money on for this race?
I think it's going to be very hard to go past the Evolution cars just based on their pace at the moment, but I'd love to see the likes of Brian and Michael Hammond get up there, even the Stealth Sim Sport guys as well.
Yeah, we're underway here at VIR. Ian's got a great start. Luke is on the outside at the moment. We've got the Apex Racing car settling into third as they come into turn one. A bit of a touch there between the ERA cars, but they're continuing. Got a Koyani car off on the grass, and he's slotted in. So
yeah, we also had Michael Ford go off at turn one as well. Looked like he was helped.
He actually got a rear end by by Luke Harvey.
Oh, and Simon Blacklock's also in the fence. He's nosed into the tyre wall pretty hard and exited back to pits as well.
Yeah, and Sean Thompson, he has no bonnet on that car, so there's been a bit of an action-packed start here. Sean, he's down in 30th at the moment, with quite a bit of work to do on that car.
Definitely, and it's kind of good to see too, the field's starting to form single line now, so hopefully everyone's going to get through the remainder of this lap without much contact, if any, and the boys will just start settling into a rhythm as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back to looking at that replay shortly, folks. But your top five: Ian Ford, Luke Harvey, Brian Borg, followed by Mick Cracknell in fourth, and Jaden Borg. He's sitting in fifth position at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good start from those guys too. Brian Borg's moved up 2 places by the looks of it. Jaden Borg's also come up 2 as well. So those guys have had a really good start to the beginning of this race.
Yeah, they certainly have, and we can see now who's that? Cracker's starting to work on the back of Brian Borg here. He was going to make a move, but he thought twice of it, and we're coming through to complete the first lap here at VIR.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tidy spot too to be getting up under someone, especially it's all dipping down and you're turning the car a lot, so probably not quite the point for that move. Let everything settle in and then have another dive.
Yeah, exactly right, and you can see Nathan Tregarthen here. He's had a good start. He's sitting in 11th position at the moment, and he's just behind Daniel Trim.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's up 6 places on the opening lap, so that's great improvement for him.
Certainly is, considering the amount of biff and barge that went into that first corner tonight.
Oh, absolutely. And the biggest loser out of all that looks like poor old Michael Ford. He's dropped 15 spots. Actually, Sean Thompson, 18 spots. So he's in the pits at the moment as well. Yeah,
and Michael's, we can see him on screen in the 997 at the moment in the WPC entry. So that should answer the viewer's question. I think it's Michael Ford driving the Performance Motorsports car tonight.
Yeah, so he's going to have a lot of work to do. Hopefully there's no major damage to that car. The wheels look like they're still pointed pretty straight, and given the pace that he's had through practice and qualifying, he should be able to work his way back up through the field. Yeah,
and he's sitting there behind one of the redback cars. That's Stephen Varga there. And we can see from the roof cam, Stephen's got a lot of rear end damage. He's sitting 27th, so I wonder if that was one of the cars that came together with Sean Thompson.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Stephen's not showing any incidents, so I think he might have been okay. We've got a couple of cars here that have a few, but he's not showing any incidents currently.
Okay, because he's missing his whole rear bumper bar. So
yeah, he might have got lucky with just one of those zero contact moves, but unfortunately it's done the damage physically on the car.
Or he gets it a bit loose as well, so it's pretty easy to do here at VIR, isn't it? Putting the power down on that kink is a bit of a trick to it in the V8.
It is, and I've just seen Damien Carr. He's just spun on the outside of the last corner and put it in the wall, and he's just escaped back to pit lane as well.
Yeah, so we'll jump back and have a look at that replay and just see how that occurred. Yeah, he did the same thing Stephen Varga just did, but he didn't manage to gather it up, and he's clouded the inside wall pretty hard.
Yeah, and that's the way it hit the wall. It's taken a bit of the nose and the rear, so I think they have one fast repair possibly for this one, but he's actually just left the session as well.
Yeah, so that's our first retirement tonight. We can see also Sam Blacklock, he's still in the pits getting that car repaired, so he mustn't have had his fast repair ticked. I'm going to have a look and see if we can find out what did happen to Sam at the start here, and see if we Yeah, we've got one here. Let's jump back and have a look at this. So we're having a look from the start, folks, and we can see Sam back here. He got a good start, and he's sitting in third. Brian Borg right behind him there. He's got Cracknell, Michael Ford. Big crash there. Well, we worked out what happened to Michael Ford, but let's have a look at this. And he got a good start. He was up on the side of Luke Harvey. He tangled wheels, I think, with Luke Harvey here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get myself back onto that replay at the moment, but it wasn't a good thing. He's gone into the wall pretty hard, and he's going to have the option 2 of a tow there, which that's going to add at least 2 to 2.5 minutes on that car as well.
It certainly will. And we're looking at Michael Ford now, because this answers the question of what happened to Sean Thompson. And have a look at this, Daniel. It was a massive hit here coming into turn 1. Well, in fact, it happened just after the pit lane.
Yeah, he's gone. Oh, that's really weird. It's kind of like it's gassed up the rear, and as he's turning to avoid that car in front of him, and then it's gripped up and turning back the other way. So he's kind of unfortunate passenger in that incident by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it, how it gassed up? But he definitely came back across the track there, and Sean Thompson's collected him on his way through.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I think he may have lit up the tyres, possibly in the shift between gears. It's very easy to do in these cars, and just seen another one just in front of Michael coming through Oak Tree with one of the Triple S cars getting back on a little bit loose there.
Yeah, he came straight across, didn't he? And he's clouded the West End Mazda entry, and I think that's Jamie McKnight.
It is.
Yeah, so I'm sure Jamie won't be happy with that re-entry.
No, and that's also meant that Michael's been able to get a good run through the back stretch there and take him coming in over the carousel there.
And Jamie's at the moment 22nd. I think that was it was Paul Tajavara that's run into him coming back on the track. Jamie's just stepped aside now and let Paul through. And he's continuing on, but Jamie's carrying a lot of damage on that car, and we're only 4 laps in.
Yeah, and that's one place you don't really want damage, especially on this circuit, is anywhere around the front end of the car is going to sort of add a little more drag, and you're going to be a bit slower, and we saw evidence there, a bit of that contact slowed him up getting the exit out, and Michael was able to duck up the inside there.
Yeah, and we know Michael's got the pace, so he's going to be eyes forward now. He's got, 24 laps of this race going. But if we have a look at the moment, folks, your top 5, we have Ian Ford leading from Luke Harvey. These two are starting to get a bit of a gap. 1.5 seconds from Ian back to Brian Borg last time through now. Michael Cracknell, Brian Borg, they're having a great battle here as Crackers now is getting the tow, and he'll have another look here at the top of the straight.
Yeah, and these boys have been going at it since the start, so Michael's sort of probably playing a little bit of a waiting game and just sitting behind him, and I've just seen he's just ducked past Brian there as well for another position.
Yeah, so at the moment, folks, it's ERA 1, 2 and 3. And Laser Racing sitting in 4th, and 5th is Jaden Borg, and he's the first of the Pagnian sponsored cars.
Yeah, Jaden's doing a great job. He's up 2 places from his starting position, so he's trucking on pretty well, and he's running quite consistent lap times. So 1:48.4 versus even the leaders are 1:48.2, so he's not that far off the pace, to be honest.
Yeah, now I've got a question from the viewers. Sam Blacklock, who called him Simon? Did I call him Simon, or did you call him Simon?
Oh, look, it probably was me.
Okay. Either way, it looks like that's going to be his nickname from now on, Simon Blacklock. But he's sitting in the pits at the moment, trying to get that car repaired. And, not sure if he's coming back out again. And I guess his team will let us know if he's retired or if he's going to come back out and circulate.
Yeah, well, we're in there for 10 minutes on the stop so far, so either there's something severely wrong with that car or they may have just pulled the pin for the night.
Yeah, it's a real shame because Sam was he qualified really well, and he was looking really strong for tonight's race.
Yeah, definitely. The car has really good pace, and it's just unfortunate if you get either touched up with someone or you hit the grass. You're a bit of a passenger, especially on this track. It's once you hit that grass, it's super slick out there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I'm just having a look here. Who was that? Wayne Taylor. He's got a gaggle of cars, I guess you could call him, starting to come up behind him. We've got Nathan Tregarthen in 10th position now, challenging him, trying to get through, and then behind him we've got Thomas Hinds, followed by Adam Wyburn, and then challenging him is Pete Sattler. So quite a good group of cars here.
Yeah, it is, and there's definitely room to be had. Like, depending on how you play that back straight, you can either shove it up the inside into the left-hander, or hold a little wide and put it into the left-hander on the outside for the right-hander. So the guys have got a few options, and it's good to see. These guys are racing hard, but there's a lot of room, and that beside him is Nathan just tried to go up the inside through turn one.
Yeah, and we just saw Sean Chappell also make a move on Matt Stratford, that was, making a move on Sean Chappell. Matt Stratford's also carrying no bonnet on that car as well, and pushing forward.
Yeah, just give me a sec. I'm just having a slight issue with my display at the moment.
No problem at all. We can confirm, folks, we have had 2 retirements from this race tonight. Damien Carr has retired, and Sam Blacklock has confirmed that car will not be coming out again tonight. So that's our 2 retirements. We might have also just lost Brodie Maris. Well, he's come in. We'll have a look at what happened to him. Got a fast repair, but Matt Clowett has also just retired from the race as well.
Yeah, that's a shame for Matt, because I think he had a little bit of issue to begin with in the race, and it's unfortunate to see that it's ended in him having to retire there.
Yeah, and we're going to have a look at what happened to Brodie Maris here. He's got Michael Ford behind him, and Michael's off in the dirt, and he's spun him. He's turned him into the wall hard.
Yeah, I'm just struggling to pick up that replay, but that's a shame for Brodie, because he's been looking forward to having a decent run out here, and get contact like that. That's quite a shame.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we're just having a look at the replay again, and Michael got it off on the dirt a bit, come back across, and he's collected him in the rear quarter panel, and unfortunately Brodie could not get that car straight into the outside fence, and he's come across the track, and we'll see if he clouts the inside fence. Which he does.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate, that, because I say Brodie was running quite strong. He has dropped out a little bit though down the order now from that result, but he was pushing up there quite well.
Yeah, he certainly was, and it was quite an interesting incident, that's for sure. I'm just trying to work out what's happened to Matt Clowett as well, but he's not coming up on my telemetry here. We did have an off-track with him back on lap 4, so we'll have a look at that, if that was the cause of it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure with Matt. I'm just showing he's not in the session anymore, so that's quite a shame for him. But I think he was involved in one of the earlier incidents as well, which that once that happens, like Michael, puts you on the back foot, and you've got to work extremely hard to get back on it.
Oh, exactly right. And we're just having a look at the replay here. And at that stage, lap 4, he's crossed it up and spun it, coming out of the final turn there. He's just looped it, hasn't hit anything. But I think he called it a night after that. Jumped back to the pits.
Yeah, so that's bringing down our overall numbers, unfortunately. And we'd like to, hopefully Matthew will be out for the next event, and he'll be able to put on a decent show again.
Yeah, and while we're looking at those replays, folks, there's been a change for the lead. Luke Harvey is now leading. Michael Cracknell's in second. Ian Ford has dropped down to third. And I'll try and find out, folks, what has happened to our race leader here.
Yeah, that's a shame for Ian. I think he'll be able to bounce back quite strong on that. Like, his times are still quite consistent, but the last lap was a 49.7, so he's come off track somewhere and possibly had a slight spin there as well, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. I can't see any off tracks in my telemetry that's telling us where that has occurred. So we should have told him not to have any issues until he came back from the replays.
Yeah, I guess that's unfortunate. It's one of those hard things you can never pick when one of these is going to happen.
Yeah, that's right. And remember, folks, the pit window, it opens at lap 10. So lap 8 now, we're not too far away, but a couple of people have already pitted, probably to get repairs. Henry King, he came in and pitted. He's currently sitting in 19th position. Michael Hammond also did a quick stop. He's in 20th position, just behind him. We've also had Brenton O'Brien with a 10.9 second stop, and of course Brodie Maris had to bring that car in after the incident, and he's used his fast repair. Yeah,
so we've had four guys out there so far. There are we've still got timers ticking for some of the guys that have left, unfortunately, as well, but for these guys that have already stopped, they're definitely going to have to make another splash towards the end of the race to see the checkered flag at the end.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it looks like we've now lost Michael Ford. He has retired from this race as well. So 9 laps in, Daniel, it's the attrition's been pretty high. We've lost 4 cars already, and we're not even a third of the race through, or probably just about a third of the race through now.
Yeah, I think unfortunately there's always going to be those points at the beginning of the race where we do lose a few here and there, but now that everyone's sort of spaced out a bit more, we're all sort of getting up to good working temperatures in the tyres, and the fuel loads are coming off. Hopefully these passes that they're trying to put through will be a little more calculated, and I don't think, hopefully, touch wood, we shouldn't see any more major incidents, I don't think.
Yeah, the only other thing we'll have, folks, is a random safety car at some point during this race, and it's going to be interesting, Daniel, when that comes out, to how that affects drivers that have pitted or drivers that may not have pitted.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if it's something that comes out in the middle of the pit window, well, everyone's pretty well safe to go from there. But something that comes out after the pit window, well, I mean, that just opens up another kettle of fish, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. And so from a driver's perspective, what do? Do you come in early as soon as the pit window opens, or do you hold on till later on? I just don't know, like, if you're out there and other people have pitted and then the safety car comes out, are you going to be at a disadvantage or at an advantage?
It really depends on when you make your stop relative to everyone else. If you're one of the first stoppers and it comes out, say, towards the end of the window or partway through the window, you're then having to compete with guys that come in then, but then have newer tyres. So and possibly less fuel at that point as well. So you're a brave man to call which is the right strategy to go, I believe.
Yeah, I guess the trick is you run your own strategy and let the whatever you call fly. I don't know. I've forgotten it. But while we've been talking, Brian Borg's also dropped down to 5th position. That happened in turn 1, folks. So Jaden Borg's now moved up to 4th.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's hard to say sort of anything bad to any of these guys, unfortunately. Like, no one wants to see him run off track and that, but Brian has come out here. He's set the quickest lap of the race so far on a 48 dead, which is 2/10 quicker than what our leaders are currently running. So he's got pace in the car. I think it's a bit minor setback now, but he should be able to bounce back, and with a few decent laps, he'll gain that time up.
Yeah, so he's not too far behind. And what's happened here? I'm just having a look. The pit stops are starting. So lap 11. So this is our answer, isn't it? They're starting to come in as early as they can.
Yeah, which might well be the right call of this race to come in earlier rather than later. But don't forget, now these guys are getting fresh tyres. They're going to have a little more pace out of the gate. But to offset that better pace on those tyres, now they've got a full tank of juice again.
Yeah, so now they can go at it. One of the viewers also said, Daniel, that Ian may be fuel saving. Now, we saw this at Oran Park where he appeared to be well off the pace and he fuel saved from the very start of the race. He managed to do a crazy stop and take that race out.
Yeah, not wrong. And we also saw the same thing with him at Circuit of the Americas as well. I mean, he was one of the last stoppers there for that race. So if anyone can do it, pretty sure Ian will be able to get the job done as far as fuel saving is concerned.
Yeah, and I'm having a look. He's changing gears at 7,000 revs. And as we come up the back, we can see what he's doing. Up to 260 kilometres an hour. 697, 7,000, and then he's backing out of it again. So we'll just keep an eye on him and see if he's actually lifting.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense then with some of the numbers I'm seeing in the telemetry timings as far as speed's concerned. So we might be well seeing Ian trying to extend that window, maybe 1 or 2 laps to give himself a better point towards the end.
Yeah, you can definitely see him as he's going out of the final corners there. He's really easy on the accelerator. He's starting to back out of it, 400 metres to go. And he's very, very smooth on the way he's driving this car at the moment.
Yep, well that to me certainly sounds like he's fuel saving at the moment then by the sounds of that.
Yeah, definitely. Now if we jump into Jaden Borg's car, we'll just hear how he's driving it compared to the leader. Yeah, so he's getting an extra 100 RPMs before he's changing. Yeah,
that sounds pretty typical of the way Jaden drives. I don't think he's the kind that's going to attempt much fuel saving. He'll be flat to the floor and pushing as hard as he can.
Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on Ian, folks, and we'll see if he is in fuel saving. But yeah, I didn't even think of that. So thanks to the viewers who pointed that out. So we'll see how that eventuates. But Ian's probably one of the biggest, the king of fuel savers. If anyone can do it, normally it's him.
Well, definitely, and that's something ERA have had going for them extremely well in most series that they run is their fuel numbers and the strategy they imply. You always see them up towards the end. I think we saw 2 of their cars just recently in the Blancpain series. They had 2 cars in the top 3, so they know what they're doing. They're pretty switched on. I wouldn't be surprised if they're playing the numbers game right now.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how they've done this, because at the moment, Luke Harvey, Michael Cracknell, they both came in on lap 11. As soon as the pit window opened, they were in. Luke Harvey did a 18.2 second stop. Michael Cracknell a 20.3. So 2 ERAs in. The third ERA car, that's Ian Ford, he's basically staying out. Jaden Borg, he's in at the moment and taking service.
Yeah, so Jaden's that's probably about the right timing for him. He'll be set up quite nicely now to push through towards the end of the race. I don't think he'll drop that far, and he's come out just in front of Brian, so there's a 3-second gap between those two, so they should run pretty comfortably now towards the end of this race.
Yeah, exactly right. So Brian's also got no bonnet on the laser racing entry. So I don't think that's going to affect him too much, but the front is definitely bent up.
Yeah, and that's going to affect his his top end speed as well. So if he can get in with Jaden there, he might be able to fuel save a little bit there, and also get the added effect of that draft, which that'll help push those top speeds back up again for him.
Yeah, so looking at the times these guys are setting, the fastest times we've seen out there from the guys pitting would be Craig Jones. He set flat 17 seconds, him and Stephen Varga, and then most of the guys, they're averaging around about 19 to 20 seconds for a fuel stop.
Yeah, so some of these guys with the lower numbers are probably gambling that if that safety car comes out reasonably soon, having a little bit slower pace, they're going to be able to save that extra time. And just seeing Ian Ford's in pit lane as well.
Okay, so he's come in lap 14, 3 laps later, so that goes the theory of him fuel saving.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you look at the outright fastest laps for this race, Ian Ford and Brian Borg, identical times on 148.001, so that's quite impressive between those two at the moment. Yeah,
it certainly is, and his stop 18.9 seconds, so he's come in around about 7/10 of a second slower than Luke Harvey, and he's joined the track in 5th. Luke Harvey is in 4th at the moment, and there's probably about a 4-second gap, maybe 5-second gap between them.
Yeah, just looking like about 4 seconds here, which is not bad in the scheme of things. You get a little bit of traffic or someone slightly misses something, he'll close that gap quite quickly. And being team cars, I can't see them doing anything to jeopardise a good result for both of those two guys.
Yeah, exactly right. And Ian's in the car number 1. And Luke drives in the car number 2. So it's a great haul of points here for both these teams if they can bring it home in the top 3, which, with we're just hit halfway, it's a very high likelihood we'll see either Luke or Ian take this, and we may even see a 1-2-3.
Yeah, definitely quite possible. I mean currently Luke and Ian are the two front-running cars after the stops, but Matt Stratford, he's come 30 places, even though others have pitted. He's up having a chance to run the race and get out in front, which is really good for him, and same with Daniel Trim and Wayne Taylor, and just as I say that, Matt Stratford's jumped in the lane. Yeah,
so he's going to use this time to get that fast repair done, and we'll see where he comes out, but at the moment it's going to be ERA 1, 2 and 3, and we've got Luke Harvey leading, Ian Ford second. We can see now Michael Cracknell coming through, he stopped as well, and taking back into 3rd, followed by Jaden Borg 4th. Henry King, he had a very early stop and stopped for 11.8 seconds, so there's a question mark over him, whether he can make the distance. I suspect he's going to have to come in for another short pit, and we'll see when that occurs.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean, we've probably said it a few times now, when this safety car comes out, if you can be as light as absolutely possible on this throttle to get the car putted around for the lap or 2 that it's under, you might just get lucky. And if you've been able to save on getting less fuel in your car or less time in the lane in general, you're going to be in a really nice spot to finish out this race too.
Yeah, you certainly are. We can see now Brian Borg, gutsy move there through the outside, and takes Sean Chappell. That was a bold move, Daniel.
It was. It's not somewhere I'd be wanting to attempt a pass like that, and you've got to have pretty decent sized kahunas to get through there properly.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think his was growing while the other guys was shrinking fast, but having a look at the guys that haven't stopped at the moment, Sean Chappell on screen at the moment, he has not taken a stop, neither has Jamie McKnight in the West End Mazda entry in 8th. The other guys that haven't stopped is Mark Fee down in 18th position, and Matt Torkins also hasn't stopped, and he's in the other in the West End Mazda entry as well.
Yeah, so these guys are running right out to the limit of the pit window here. So they might get extremely lucky. I mean, we have no idea when this safety car is going to happen, and if it happens sometime in the window, they essentially get a free pass and get caught up to the field, and then end up on the best tyres out in the field.
Yeah, definitely. And it got a bit messy there. Matt backed it out a bit, and the 31 went through and went off track. So that was Shane Raynor. He's having a pretty interesting race here tonight, sitting in 22nd position.
Yeah, it's probably not one of Shane's most enjoyable races that he's been out there in. Times are not that bad, but he's still running on average 2 seconds a lap slower, and more at sometimes depending on where he's at. But he looks like he's been involved in a couple of incidents here, which has sort of affected his race pretty substantially.
Yeah, it certainly has. I'm just having a look at the replay there. Quite interesting. You can see why Matt Torkins backed out of it, because as Shane came into the corner and passed him, his rear brakes locked and he went for a bit of a spin. Gathered it up. Then he did, I don't know what he tried to do, a handstand before he got it back on track. And
I mean, these cars, no ABS, the last thing you want is brake lock-up, so it's not ideal, and he can play around with that bias and sort of hopefully eliminate that moving forward in this race as well.
Yeah, well, that's right, exactly right, and we're coming to the end of our pit window, so we've got some guys running really deep here, and of course, you know, when we say the end of our pit window, that's just based on the professor's calculations here. But Sean Chappell still going around, has not pitted. Jamie McKnight, Mark Fee, Matt Torkins. So these guys are really gambling that a safety car's not going to come out and burn these guys.
Yeah, definitely, and they're doing bloody good to keep up with the times they're putting in now, and to still be in the positions they're doing, especially after these guys have come out and are on the fresher tyres.
Oh, and we're just having a look here. Thomas Hines nearly lost it there. He's having a battle here with Pete Sattler. Pete's been in the battles tonight big time. Craig Jones is also in this battle pack, and these guys are racing. They're racing hard.
I'm just trying to focus in on that one at the moment.
Yeah, no worries.
Struggling a video.
Yeah, Daniel's having some screen hardware issues, folks, so he's doing a fantastic job hanging in here. Bit hard at the moment for you, mate.
Oh, mate, it's I feel like I'm watching a fireworks show with the amount of colour that's going on this screen at the moment. It's horrible.
So it's doing a great job there, just being able to help call this race in the conditions you're in. But we're just driving with Craig Jones here on the roof cam, sitting in 11th in the 111, and as he closes in under brakes once more on Thomas Hines here. Pete Sattler's just ahead of them.
Yeah, and these cars, you know, we've got 3 cars here within just on a second here, so you don't want to get too close up on these guys, especially in the brakes. It's when you're in that vicinity, it's very easy just to miss your markers just a touch, and you know, there's 1 car, possibly 2 cars that are off on the track with you there.
Yeah, you can see now Pete Sattler going on the inside, Thomas outside. He's thinking twice of it and he's backed out of it, but of course that's allowed Craig to close up, and Craig decides not to make a move either. Craig's probably in the best seat of the house here because he can see these two going hell for leather, and if they come together, he's going to jump 2 spots.
Well, he's really in the catbird seat there. He can just sit back just enough, watch what's happening, and as Thomas applies the pressure to Pete, any small mistake, he's got the option there, like you say, to jump straight through. So I'd be keeping a close eye on him, and looks like Daniel Trim's starting to close up on that battle as well. So those two will be in for a really good position there.
We certainly will, as we ride back on the roof cam now with Thomas Hines, 160 kilometres an hour, 4th gear over the top and down to Oak Tree. straight back onto the straight again. We've got the safety car, folks, so safety car is out, and this is a random safety car on lap 18, right at the end of the pit window. Now this is going to hurt a few of the guys out here that have not stopped, namely Sean Chappell. He is in 6th position. He'll have to wait for the field to gather up before he'll be able to come in. Actually, he is the only car that has not stopped, Daniel, so he's gone the furthest right to the end, but I think he's going to be feeling the most pain.
I think he might too, unfortunately, but the good thing for him, he's going to have fresh tyres. Now that he's in towards the end of this race, we've only got another 9 laps to go here before the checkered flag. He can put the lowest amount of fuel in, so good tyres, low fuel. I'd be keeping an eye on Sean. I reckon he's going to surprise a few people here.
Yeah, well, the big gamble he's playing with is that he's hoping at this point that a lot of the field are going to come back in to throw fresh tyres on for the last 9 laps, because if they do, he's not going to lose a lot of positions. In fact, he may gain some. But if they don't, he's going to go back to the longest line.
He is indeed. Now, just having a look through some of our quickest lap times here. Have you seen Ian Ford's time? A 1:47.3. That's lightning quick. He's the only guy that I've seen in the 7s for this race currently.
Yeah, I've got him at a 1:48.001.
Either that or my telemetry's playing up, but if that is his time, that's extremely quick.
Well, I'm just leaning across, having a look at your screen, mate. Someone's written that on in Texter. You've got to rub it off.
Right, so that, well, yeah, I might have to.
And the whiteout, that doesn't help either, mate. You're going total old school on us.
I think I have, but that's the joys of this wonderful hobby of ours. When thing goes a bit pear-shaped, you kind of rely on what you can see in front of you.
Oh, exactly right, and at the moment, going through your top 10, folks, before they come in to potentially pit this lap. Luke Harvey leads first. Second is Ian Ford. Third, Michael Cracknell. ERA 1, 2 and 3. Jaden Borg, Laser Racing. Fourth. Fifth, Brian Borg. Sixth, Sean Chappell, who is going to have to pit. Matt Stratford in 7th. 8th, Pete Sattler. 9th, Thomas Hinds. And Craig Jones. He rounds out your top 10.
That's a really good top 10. I mean, we got a few ERA cars here, but we've got a lot of representation from some of these other teams that are running here as well. Like we've got 2 from Triple S running in here at the moment from the Stealth Sim Sport mob, which is really good to see for them, and it's good broadcast for their sponsors as well.
Oh, it certainly is, and we're just I'm trying to get a view here to see what the field is going to do. We can see the safety car coming through now. Ian Ford's going, no he's not. He's doing the old NASCAR, let's see who's going to get suckered. And most of the top have stayed out, and Sean Chappell's the only one coming in.
Yeah, unfortunately this safety car's, it's a bad timing for it to come out. He's going to fall further down. In the long run, he's not losing anywhere near the amount of time he would have lost in this race, which is good, but now he's got to do it all over from the right at the back of the field.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? He's down now in 27th position. Yeah, he did 22.2 second stop, so he's done a pretty normal stop. He hasn't gained anything out of that, really. If anything, he's down in the end of the longest line.
Yeah, I would have expected him to be sort of around the maybe 15-second mark for a stop, but that's probably a little longer too, given the tyres. I mean, some of these guys possibly could have changed up their tyre strategy that we don't know, and maybe gone 2 tyres down the working side on the left-hand side of the car.
Yeah, well, that's right. We just don't know what they've been doing, do we?
No, and that's it. It's the hard thing with this when we're trying to watch it here is we're trying to have to make guesstimations as to what they're doing as far as tyre stops, and if iRacing could put in a way that we could get a nice little display of cars that are in and what they're taking. Geez, you imagine how nice that would be for a broadcast.
Oh, it'd be brilliant if we could do it. at least in real life broadcast, you got someone in the pits who are actually seeing what's going on. We're just seeing Brenton O'Brien here, 28th. He's trying to catch the queue. This car, it was in the pits for 659 seconds, and it's looking very second-hand. So Brenton's had quite an incident somewhere out there tonight.
And that's a shame. No one wants to see cars in the pits for that long, and it may have been a victim of something that he's done, or caught up with a tangled mess of someone else. So it's a shame to see him not up a little bit higher in the field and back on the lead lap with these guys.
Yeah, that's right. And looking at our retirements, folks, Brodie Maris has retired. So has Michael Ford, and Matt Clowett, Damien Carr and Sam Blacklock. And we saw that incident with Sam at the start when he got together with Luke Harvey there. Really had nowhere to go once he hit the grass and straight into the wall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a hard thing, especially on these opening laps, is that many cars, 40 cars trying to funnel into one corner. There needs to be a lot of give and take from everyone that's running around there to sort of not make it worse for everyone. And unfortunately, whether it's sim racing or real life, we get the odd bingle here, and unfortunately it takes a couple of cars out.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's what V8 racing's about sometimes, but we're going to go green here again, folks. We've got Luke Harvey, Ian Ford, Mick Cracknell there, ERA 1, 2, 3, but we've got the Borg boys 4th and 5th, Laser Racing and Pagnian, who wants to spoil the party here, so we'll see what they can do. We'll also keep an eye on Sean Chappell. He's restarting at 27th with fresh tyres, and we'll see how many positions he can make up towards the end of this race. But we're back racing here again, folks. So Luke Harvey's jumped Ian, taken the lead, and Ian's now having a look on the inside. He sends it, but he backs out. Clean start here by the ERA boys.
Yeah, and they're not going to want to do anything to jeopardise a 1, 2, 3 on the podium. They're going to race nice and clean with each other and give plenty of room. And Crackers is going to have to just watch out and keep an eye open for Jaden and Brian as they try and feed their way back up to spoil their party.
Yeah, that's right. And Matt Stratford, he's had his car repaired. He's now behind Brian. Brian's got that whole front end damage, so he's definitely going to be vulnerable, as we can see Matt now closing in.
Yeah, so Brian's going to basically need to stay up nice and close with Jaden there, keep up towards his bumper through the back section. That'll sort of keep his top speed up, and hopefully should keep Matt behind him as well.
Yeah, well, I think he's dropped off the back of his brother a little bit here. We're riding on the roof cam with Matt now, up the back straight, and we'll just see how much he can pull and whether he can actually affect this pass. He's already got the toe and on the inside.
Yeah, and they'll run in that toe for the majority of the race, and it looks like he's just getting past Brian as well by the looks of it. So having that bit of damage is definitely starting to affect Brian there.
Yeah, he made it quite easily through there, and you could see the difference between the beat-up car compared to the nice, new-looking car. Quite a substantial speed difference.
Oh, it is, and especially on a high-speed track like this one, any aero deficiencies you're going to see in the top-end speed. You might get away with it somewhere like Oran Park where you're not so dependent on that, but on these high-speed tracks, it's a world of hurt for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, it certainly is. And VIR and a V8 Supercar is another world of hurt, isn't it? Because we've got a car off in the background there. Because VIR is pretty tricky, but trying to nurse a supercar through here definitely keeps you on your toes.
Oh, it does indeed. I mean, you got to have a lot of respect for the car and watching these guys go about their business out here. You know, you're driving a car that's massively overweight on extremely small tyres that don't have a lot of grip and no traction control. So they're doing an amazing job to put down the times they're doing and to race as tight as they are.
Oh, exactly right. And have you had much of experience in driving these V8 supercars?
I've done a little bit, and I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be, and I'm sort of 1 to 2 seconds off the pace. But it's a big mindset change to sort of get your head around. And predominantly, I'm a GT guy, so I like having some of those aids to fall back on. But it's a definite learning experience to get your head around and drive it efficiently and fast.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm just having a look back. We just had a car off and into the wall heavily, and I'm just trying to work out who that was. I think it might have been Paul. We'll have a look. Paul Tajavara, I think's come off just over the, I don't know what it is, go through the S's up the top of the hill and down the dip.
Yep, down over the roller coaster on the back straight there.
Yeah, and he's come off second best with the wall here.
And it's hard in that corner because you're blind on entrance, so you've got to make sure you've got your marks precise and stick them. But if you're a little bit over, you're struggling to pull it up for the next right-hander once you get over that kink.
Yeah, and he's got 2 wheels off on the grass there, just a little bit, but that was enough to get the car into a slide and into the wall.
Absolutely, and it seems similar on most of the iRacing tracks that we go to. The minute you put a wheel on the grass, and it doesn't matter whether it's a V8 or an MX-5 or any of those, the minute it's on that grass, it's extremely hard to control, and you generally 9 out of 10 times find yourself hitting a wall.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And a bit of an update, folks. Sean Chappell, he's back up to 20th at the moment. His lap times, because he's in traffic, his last lap time was a 1:53.902. The front guys are all in the 1:48s at the moment. His next victim or quarry, whatever you want to call it, is Jamie Owens. And Jamie's crossed it up, and he's done the same thing as Paul, and gathers it up as Sean comes around, and man, that was close.
Yeah, the boys are running very, very hard towards the end of this race to make every spot they can, and Sean's going to be in a good spot. I think he'll close in quite nicely. He's coming up on Jamie Owens, so I'd keep an eye there. There's probably a pass likely to happen, and then definitely between Tony, Jamie, and Braden, those boys are within a second here, so that's another good battle just in front shaping up.
Yeah, exactly right. And I'm just looking at the way these cars are sliding, coming over that dip. That could be basically because they're on very old tyres here, and Sean's on fresh tyres, so he should be able to make some gains. And how far he gets, though, in 4 laps, I reckon... how far do you reckon he's going to go?
I reckon he's definitely got 2 places in him at the moment. I mean, he's 6 to 8 laps newer tyres than 2 in front of him, so he's got a lot more grip. They're probably going to be pretty similar as far as fuel weight's concerned, but that extra grip's going to help him get off those corners better, and which should in turn give him better top speeds on the end of those straights.
Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on him. He's still behind Jamie Owens at the moment, and 24 laps to go. One of the viewers asked what it takes to drive a V8 supercar effectively. Well, it's a pretty hard question for me to answer because I'm not that good, but the person that could probably answer it would be Ian Ford. So what we're going to do, folks, we're going to jump in to his car for a lap around here at VIR with the telemetry on, and even though he's in a battle here, folks, just listen to the way he feathers the accelerator, the brakes, and the way he's changing gears. And I'm going to shut up for a lap so you can take it all in. Now, a lot of that banging you're hearing, folks, that's more server issues than him banging down the gears.
Yeah, and that's a great example of watching Ian at work there and how he gets that car around the track. So you pretty much need to practice driving with eggs under your feet and just be as smooth as possible to get the most out of it.
Yeah, pretty much, and having a really good feel for what the car's doing under you, which in sim racing, it can be pretty difficult, because I've said it before, and I'll say it again, real life drivers, they have the feel through the seat, where we pretty much just get it through the wheel, and we rely on that and our eyes, believe it or not, to know exactly what the car's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you want to get a bit more adventurous, you've got the likes of Sim Vibe and base transducers and all that sort of jazz to accentuate what's happening as well, which is really cool. Or, like you say, with wheels, direct drive, that's just going leaps and bounds at the moment.
Oh, direct drive is, yeah. I'm hoping my postponed trip to test the HTC Vive with direct drive is still on the card, so I'm looking forward to that at some point.
Yeah, I've actually just seen a mate of mine's just picked up one. He's in the process of building a whole new rig, so very eager to have a look at that when it's all done. And going from a very basic wheel, whether it be a Fanatec or a Logitech, to something like that, I don't think anything really compares for what you're in for. Yeah,
well, I've heard the amount of force that comes through those direct drive wheels are phenomenal, to the point where I was told that if you hit a wall, it's like real life race cars, hands off the wheel, because it'll snap around and can cause you a bit of damage.
Oh, absolutely. The few of the guys that I've spoken to with them, the minute you touch a wall or something big like that, let go of that wheel, because you'll break a thumb or a finger or something in the rim if you're not careful.
Yeah, which is exactly what happens in real world racing, isn't it? If you see the real world drivers, they do exactly that. They jump on the brakes and they let go of the wheel just before they hit the wall.
Absolutely, and there's no better example of that than watching Formula 1 or Indy if they have a big high-speed impact.
Yeah, exactly right, and it's amazing to have that sort of foresight, isn't it? When they're doing the speeds they're doing, the G-forces they're experiencing, to have that feel of knowing when to take your hand off the wheel and get ready for the hit. But at the moment, folks, we're into the final lap here. We've got Ian Ford leading Luke Harvey. Mick Cracknell, he's coming under attack from Matt Stratford, and Matt's really thrown at him here, and he's hungry for a podium finish.
Yeah, definitely. We actually missed that pass. Matt was behind Brian and Jaden there, so he's going phenomenally well. He's 2 seconds off the lead and just under half a second behind Crackers. So Stratford's going to push hard for this last 2 laps that we've got here.
Yeah, well, I've got the last lap up now. So, we're on the last lap now, believe it or not.
Right, so my telemetry is really off then.
Yeah, so at the moment it's ERA 1, 2 and 3. Matt Stratford in the V-Power Dick Johnson livery here, or Penske livery I guess you could say, is trying to do it, but I think he's going to run out of laps here. And so as we come across the line, Ian Ford holds on to first, Luke Harvey second, Matt Stratford, he's thinking about it, he just does not have the legs, he comes home in 4th position.
Yeah, that's a great result for Evolution Racing there, 1, 2 and 3. That's a phenomenal job. Stratford did excellent. He's come up 27 places from the start, so I think he might have been one of our biggest movers overall for the race.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. We can see Sean Thompson now coming across the line. He comes home in 13th position. Where's Sean Chappell? He's coming across now, 17th position for Sean Chappell. So he made up 10 positions in, 9 laps?
That's a great recovery, that, for Sean. And we said those tyres came into effect nice for him.
Yeah, it certainly did. And it was just unfortunate that others didn't choose to pit. But anyway, he still made a great effort. If that pit safety car hadn't come out and he had a pitted, it would have been interesting to see where he would have ended up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I think, yes, it was extremely disadvantaged, but to come back to a 17th from dropping to near dead last in the field, hats off to you, Sean. That's an awesome drive, mate.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a fantastic comeback drive. I call it a recovery drive, but it's not really. It's just that the strategy got a bit hindered there. But as far as movers and shakers go, have you got any of that in front of you, if you can see it?
Yeah, so biggest mover for the night, for what I can see, is Matt Stratford, up 27 places. And following him was Tony Gaffer. He made up 13 spots overall, and Jamie McKnight was 12. So those guys have come through the field quite nicely. As for our biggest losers, unfortunately, Sam Blacklock, first or second lap incident that he had, right down off the pace. He was 30 places down. Sorry, so unfortunate for those guys. Michael Ford had that big issue at the beginning as well. So a few names that we would have liked to see probably running up towards the front end there, but a bit of damage, and it's really affected them for this race.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, as we've said, Sean Chappell's up there for his great drive at the end of this race. 10 places, 9 laps. A very good effort there indeed. And but folks, let's go through the final results so you can see exactly where your favourite driver finished tonight. So Ian Ford takes out round 13 here at VIR, followed by Luke Harvey in second. Third, Michael Cracknell, so 1, 2, 3 for ERA. Matt Stratford, fantastic drive, coming home in fourth position, followed by Jaden Borg in fifth. His teammate Pete Sattler comes home in sixth position. Then we have Craig Jones in seventh, followed by Henry King in the Zuva entry in eighth. Thomas Hinds comes home in ninth, and Daniel Trim rounds out your top 10.
In 11th we had Adam Myburton, 12th was Sean Thompson, 13th Brian Borg, 14th Shane Raynor, 15th was Braden Bateman, 16th was Jamie McKnight, 17th Sean Chappell, and we've given him a big rap already, 18th Nathan Thagaran, and 19th Tony Gaffer, 20th was Stephen Viger.
21st was Mark Fee, followed by Matt Torkins home in 22nd. Jamie Owens holds on to 23rd. Brenton O'Brien, he had another good recovery. He came home in 24th. 24th. 4 laps down. Paul Tajavara comes home 25th, 6 laps down. Michael Hammond 26th. Wayne Taylor 27th and 7 laps down, followed by Kai Sloggett in 28th. Brodie Maris, the first of our retirees, home in 29th, 17 laps down, followed by Michael Ford, who also retired after that incident, in 30th, 22 laps down.
Yeah, and rounding out the last of the guys that gridded up tonight, Matthew Cowett was 31st, Damien Carr was 32nd, and Sam Blacklock in 33rd.
Yeah, so that's your results, folks. We had a lot of people in here tonight qualifying and practicing that unfortunately did not make the grid, but we still had a very strong field of 33. I guess the most unfortunate story tonight was Sam Blacklock, wasn't it? He started fourth. He had a really strong car, battling for third. First lap, tangled wheels, off into the grass, into the wall, game over. And that's pretty unfortunate. But on the other hand, that is racing, I guess.
Well, it is. I mean, it's unfortunate when it happens to any of us that are out there. Like, we all want to put on a good show, and first lap incident for him was not great. And then, same respect, Michael Ford had that big off on the opening lap as well. So, a couple of guys that could have been in contention for a really good finish, slight errors, and it's put them way out.
Yeah, exactly right. But all in all, it's been another fantastic round here of the AOSC for VIR. Now, looking next week, I don't think we're actually on air as far as RRTV goes, because I think they've got a sprint round on, which is 2 short races.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look now for that. So yeah, so we go from geez, it's hard to find it when you're trying to scour the forums to find the grid up entry.
Yeah, so our spy guy said it's a 70-70 race, so that's 2 sprint races next week. I'm just not sure where it's at.
Here we go. It's at Lime Park, so that's small little bull ring. It's going to be really hard to get clean racing through there. So, good luck to everyone that's going to enter for that event, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot of fun regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting event, that's for sure. RRTV gets a little bit of a break, so if we look at our schedule for next week, folks, this Friday or Sunday night, we don't have the Oz Super Skips. We've got that night off. Monday night, we're back for the Monday Night Lights. Then we're going to come back on next Sunday because I think we've got another round of the Australian Sports Car Endurance Championship. So that's going to be another 10-hour race next Sunday. And, so that's going to be us for this week.
Oh, we got a lot ahead of us then, don't we?
We certainly do. So, folks, if you like your sports car action, tune in next Sunday and enjoy that. If you like your skippies, come back and join us Monday night. Really exciting racing, the little skip barbers. We're getting, Daniel, a lot of European interest, and they're starting to mix it up with the Aussies, and it's getting pretty interesting.
I mean, it's a great little car. It's very similar to what we get with the Porsche in that it's very limited as far as setup adjustments go. So driver skill shines through in those ones. So it's great to see the internationals getting on board and jumping in and running with us. So I think it's going to go strength to strength, and the racing will be better for it as well.
Oh, for sure, and we can just see it there. And Luke Whitten, he runs. He's probably one of the Australian lead skippy drivers. He's starting to get a bit of a name for himself now, in a good way, overseas. He also runs in the 2K Cup now, and he takes it to some of the best skippy drivers in the world every week, which is fantastic to see. But it looks like we've got a few interviews here. We'll bring Ian Ford up first, Daniel, and did you want to kick off the interview with this? With Ian?
Yeah, why not? Let's have a go.
With this. It's Ian, not this.
G'day, Ian. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box, mate. How was your race tonight?
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. The first stint was just one of those pretty standard. Let's just go around and log up laps, and obviously, after the pit stop, it was full flat trying to chase down Luke. Was a bit concerned that we might not actually get a caution, so had to try and close that gap, and all hell broke loose after that caution, and had some of the best racing I've had this year.
That's excellent. Now, Bernie and I were talking through the race. We were trying to work out before that first stint whether you might have hit fuel saving mode. Was that the case?
Yeah, pretty much. Like if you're running out in front, and there was me, Luke, and Crackers there running 1, 2, 3 at the one point in time, and we had the monopoly over the top 3. May as well back it down a little, save the car, make sure we don't do any mistakes, and obviously save a bit of fuel just in case the safety car came out pretty early, and if it came out earlier than the green lap to go all the way to the end, it's like we definitely have some of the shorter pit stops there, so we should be able to maintain position.
Yeah, it was really good. Now, how did you find the tyres going through the stint? Did you guys happen to take all 4 in the stop, or was it just like a 2-tyre stop for you guys?
Yeah, all 4 in the stop. There's plenty of time to do it when you're taking on about 35 to 40-ish litres. So, it's one of those things. Tyres are a necessity, and for some reason this track just burns them up. You get probably like 2 good laps, even just one lap in quality, and then once that's done, you pretty much just drop. And in the cold weather like we had tonight, they just sit there fairly nicely. But you do start feeling them right at the end of the stint there. Like when I tried doing some fast laps just at the end of the stint once Crackers and Luke pitted, and even then the tyres were definitely starting to really complain at me.
No, that's great, mate. It was. We actually jumped on board with you for one of the laps here because some of the guys were asking how you get your car around as quick as you do. Have you got any tips for the viewers on what's the best way they can try and extract some consistency and speed out of these cars, just from someone sort of entry level learning point of view?
Yeah, it's like if you've got any experience with setup, it's like just trying to get something that you feel like it can turn reliably, and obviously get on the gas pretty decently. Like these cars do kick a fair lot, so around here it's a lot of smooth throttle movements, things like that, and just maintaining as much corner speed as possible. Like up through the S's, you've got the right-hander after that with the big curb that you basically just have to strike that curb, and maintaining speed while hitting that curb is quite a scary thing, because if it goes wrong, you're just going to launch yourself into the grass, and then that next left-hander, you pretty much run it all the way out to the curb as well, and that's another place where you're just going out into the weeds, and you'll probably kill the car if you lose it, and then you've got to go through tree corner down the bottom there, and it's like that's the slowest part of the track, and if you mess up, you run through there, and carry too much speed, you're going off into the weeds. But it's just one of those things where you've just got to pretty much hit your marks and get a car that is quite comfortable, and you think is reliably going to do what you need it to do, and after that you just push like hell and just keep on trying to make small little improvements until you get some decent gains out of the car.
That's great. That's really good insight, sort of, especially for some of the young guys. We had one of the questions in the chat tonight was sort of wanted to sort of get ideas as to how you get the most out of that. So I definitely think that's going to help improve some of those guys and possibly bring some more good racing into this series as well. Bernie, did you have any questions you had for Ian at all, mate?
No, not too many. I was just having a bit of a doze while you took the reins there. But no, good drive there, Ian, and it looked like you guys pretty much 1, 2 and 3. A few close calls with your teammate Luke, but we knew you guys would keep it pretty clean, and no doubt you're just having a lot of fun.
It's like on the way up the back straight before the restart, we pretty much knew that it was on for young and old. We're all trying to jostle for position to try and figure out who was going to get the good restart and follow them. And heading down into turn 1, we made a little bit of a gap on the field, and after that, all hell broke loose. When I wasn't attacking Luke, I was getting attacked by crackers, and it was pretty scary there at times. Obviously, trying to force the issue up into the S's and try and scare Luke out of going through there flat out was a bit of a mind game. But other than that, there was one hell of a race, and hopefully you guys caught that on video. But if not, I'm going to definitely put it up on YouTube, because that was some of the cleanest and tightest racing that I've seen in ages. Like, not normally can you actually make two cars go round the first corner around here, but somehow we managed to do that about 3 or 4 laps in a row, so it's definitely a credit to Luke.
Yeah, we're actually doing one of the laps with you with the telemetry up when you came down turn 1 on the inside of Luke there, and all of a sudden he appeared on the side of you, not on you, but probably a foot off you. It was very close, but edge of your seat racing. Did you were you aware of Matt Stratford and the fact that he was coming for you guys?
Not at all until about 2 to go, when Crackers pretty much realised that he had to look in the mirror as well as in front of him, and that's pretty much the first I knew about Stratty coming up. I was more or less just trying to figure out exactly how to get around Luke, and just trying to figure out how to get around him, and I was looking in the mirror every now and then to see what sort of run Crackers was getting, because if I wasn't attacking Luke, he was certainly planning on attacking me.
Yeah, well, he ended up getting his hands full there the last couple of laps once Matt got on the back of him. It was pretty close racing, but it was great to see all 4 of you guys going at it, especially the front 2, you and Luke, were really having a great battle. I thought once Crackers got into it, I was wondering if team etiquette was going to go out the window, but you guys are professionals and you all held it all together, so well done on a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, cheers, Bernie. It's one of those things. No one got wrecked, so we're all pretty happy. But it could have gone horribly wrong, because there's not much room to squeeze a V8 onto the other side of a V8 entering some of those corners when you want to try a switchback. But other than that, it's just massive credit to the team. I think we've got one of the best best teams for setups around, and hopefully it comes to fruition this Saturday night in the Blancpain that we'll actually race against the best again and finish somewhere in the top 10.
So that's tomorrow night, is it?
Yeah, it sure is. Midnight real time, so I have no idea what that means for Western Australia's time.
No worries, and that should be covered by RaceSpot live, shouldn't it?
Yep, it certainly will be. So far, from what I've heard from the guys, there's a few a few different teams popping up into the top of the timesheets, but I think that we're pretty much in the top 10, and just hopefully we don't get Euroed.
Yeah, so tomorrow night, folks, if you want to watch it live, jump onto iRacing. There'll be a banner that says broadcasting live from 12 o'clock tomorrow night. Go and support ERA and the other Australian teams in there that are campaigning.
ERT nowadays.
Oh, yeah, ERT. ERT. It's always ERA to me. ERT. And that stands for Eurovision Racing Team, doesn't it?
Euro Racing Team sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And what happened to Brenton tonight? We noticed he was 7 laps down and in a car that looked like it had gone through the wars.
He tried a cheeky strategy of pitting early and hoping the safety car came early when we were all fuel saving up the front there, and unfortunately for him, he spun it and damaged the car on fresh tyres, and yeah, I think that was pretty much the highlight of his night. But other than that, his big highlight for the weekend is going to see the Port Adelaide match tomorrow, so he'll be flying to Brisbane and then flying back home on Sunday, and should be in the second split for Scops, so fingers crossed that he can have a good race at Oran Park. Fantastic.
Anyway, Brenton, if you're listening, have a great time watching the whatever they are you watch. Some team sport. It's anyway, Ian, did you want to wait there? We're going to bring Luke Harvey up and we'll have a chat, or we can kick you out and he can tell us what he really thinks.
No, I'll get going for the night. Cheers for broadcasting, boys. Hopefully you're still getting better, Bernie. I'll leave the sponsor chat for Luke.
No worries. See you, Ian. Hi, Luke. Welcome to RRTV Combox, and congratulations, second position tonight. We noticed tonight you were having a really good battle with your teammate Ian Ford there, and you got close a few times, but you never managed to swap emblems or anything.
Yeah, hey Bernie. Unfortunately for me, Fordy's just too quick. He's got a bit of Van Gisbergen about him, I reckon. He's just the way he just put pressure on me and intimidated me there for a while was enough to make the gap, and he got through.
Okay, so if he's Van Gisbergen, who are you?
Probably Mark Winterbottom, cracked under pressure.
And what about Crackers? If he can't crack under pressure, who would he be?
Oh, I'd have to give him Lowndes, I reckon. He's always there, Mick.
Okay, excellent. So there we know your alter egos now. So
yeah.
But all in all, it looked like you're having a great time out there. You did take the lead earlier on, and but Ian got it later back in the race. Was that because Ian was fuel saving, or was it just that you had the pace and you got out there?
To be honest, I think he just likes messing with me. I think he likes me to think that, oh yeah, I might have this one in the bag, and then he'll just pull something out and take the lead and take it off me.
Sounds like he's got a lot of mongrel in him then.
Yeah, no, he likes a bit of banter, and but yeah, he's like that. I think it's good having someone like that in the team.
Oh, it was a fantastic race. Again, ERT 1, 2 and 3. I've called you ERA all night tonight, but I've been corrected by Ian, so it's ERT 1, 2 and 3. But before I let you go, I'm going to hand you over to Daniel, because I'm just going on and he's probably got some real questions for you.
Oh, I don't know about real questions, but yeah, Luke, congratulations, second place, mate, and like Bernie said, 1, 2, 3 for the team on the podium finish. How did you find the car tonight out there? If you can let the viewers know, mate.
Yeah, it was really good. The opening stint there, 40 and I were both just saving fuel, keeping a good gap back to I think it was Brian Borg and obviously Crackers. And then we kept expecting the safety car out any minute, so once we got just into the pit window, Crackers and I jumped in thinking that the safety car was going to come out soon, whereas 40 kept going and rolling the dice, so I think he did another 2 or 3 laps than us, but I tried building a big gap thinking that maybe the safety car wasn't going to come out, so I went pretty hard on the tyres, and whereas I think 40 and Mick were just hanging back a bit and then pounced when the safety car came out.
And just in general, like, you found no major issues with any of the back markers as you guys caught up with those guys. It was pretty clean sailing.
No, actually, I don't think I had any back markers, but I must apologise to Sam Blacklock. On lap 1, we had a bit of a coming together. I think there was a bit of netcode involved there, but that was a shame. I was looking forward to battling him throughout the race.
Yeah, we remarked on that incident with Sam. I don't think we're quite sure as to who was involved in it other than Sam, but I'm sure it's probably disappointing for him that he wasn't able to finish after that. But you know, we're all racers here. Apologies go a long way, so I'm sure you're not going to have too many issues moving on to the next round, mate.
Yeah, we've exchanged apologies, and I suppose you just move on from that. But yeah, it's unfortunate we have this net code, because I suppose in real life, if a little door rub like that, you'd both just carry on. But it sometimes exaggerates the contact, and sometimes you can end up second best.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully that's something iRacing can look into, especially with the local servers and that we use. It might bring down that margin of error and give us that good door-to-door rubbing that we want to see. And before we let you go, mate, do you want to give a shout out to your sponsors and that before we go?
Yeah, must thank Logitech, MS Limited, Maverick Welding, MPMS Simulators, Joel Real Timing, and Night Rider Designs for the cool paint jobs on their car.
Well, again, congratulations to yourself, Ian, and Crackers on a phenomenal race and outstanding result, mate.
Thanks, and thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. It's always good to watch it back the next day, and also thanks to Nick and the team at Stealth Sim Sport for putting on the series. We thoroughly enjoy it.
Fantastic, and whoever's running the Blancpain tomorrow night, send our best wishes to them, and best of luck for that campaign.
Will do. Thanks, Bernie.
So, folks, we have one final interview, and that is with Thomas Hinn. So I'll bring him up, and it's your turn to start the interview again.
Yeah, no worries. G'day, Thomas. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box, mate. How did you find the racing out there tonight?
Hey, hello guys. Oh, whoops, nearly flipped off my headset there. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I mean, quali for 13th, I think, which was better than I thought I would get, because, yeah, mid for 48, didn't feel like it was that good of a time, to be honest. I put it in, I was like, yeah, wasn't terribly, I was okay with it, but it was like, I could have done a bit better. But either way, it was sort of there or thereabouts, and yeah, I got off the line, well, a little bit slow as I always am. I rarely get a good start, but managed to keep clean. A couple of guys ahead had instance, so I pretty much maintained position early on. And yeah, had some good battling early on. I think that Wayne Taylor and a few others there were in a bit of a battle pack there at the sort of back end of the 10. And yeah, just kept going along. I think just before halfway, I had Peter Saller behind me, and he pulled into the pits, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, probably I wonder if a safety car might get called soon. So I was sort of preempting when it would get called. Obviously it got called quite later on, but just in case they got called a lot earlier, I decided, I was like, yeah, I'll just pit. I might as well get it done so that's out of the way. So pitted in just after he did, and I must have taken less fuel because I jumped Peter and a couple others in the lane, so that was good. And then yeah, Peter was on me, had a slightly better pace, I think, and obviously cold tyres got on me in a couple of laps, caught back up a bit, and then yeah, him, and then I think it was Stratty was coming out of the pits, and we all went a bit three wide for a moment, and it was a bit scary, and then locked the rears, which made it a bit awkward, but managed to just avoid contact, so that was good. But had a great battle with Peter as well. It was really good fun. And yeah, and then I was hounding Peter, obviously safety car called, and I didn't realise till after, but I looked at the fuel, and I think I was actually under-fueled, but I didn't mean to do that, so I think I accidentally calculated wrong, so thank God that random safety car is a thing, because otherwise I probably would have had to splash dash and, drop way down, so worked out good. But yeah, then after the restart, tried to get along as quick as I could, but yeah, I don't know what was the last few laps there, with about sort of, I think it was about 6 to go to about sort of 2 or 3 to go, almost at the end really. Yeah, I don't know what it was, maybe after the safety car I just kind of got out of the zone or something, but I just didn't really feel as quick, or just couldn't quite get the car to work. So the guys ahead were battling, and I was still sort of barely keeping with him, so it was a bit annoying at the end. And yeah, then Henry, obviously fresh tyres, was hounding me, and he made a great move there on the last lap. Kudos to him. It was a really, really good move to get through. But obviously thanks to Borgie whoever it was, or whoever it was, or Jones, that's it, those two had it all coming together, so Borgie dropped back, so it put me back to 9th, so I didn't really lose anything. But it's a long-winded way to say that, it was alright. 9th is good, another good, solid result, which is what I've been aiming to do all season long in this and OSR and the other ones I do as well. Generally alright. Yeah. Not my strongest, I don't think, but I've salvaged a decent result out of it in the end.
Yeah, and look, a top 10's a great result coming home now. Just looking back here at the numbers, I think you pitted lap 11. Like you say, you had a bit of issues with the tyres towards the end. Were you find it was just very skittish out there, or just couldn't regain the pressure in them after that safety car?
I think it might have just been... Yeah, I reckon it was just I just couldn't quite get back in the sort of groove, I guess, either with maybe it was with the tyres, maybe it was just generally I just wasn't quite able to get back into it in that situation. Not sure, I just didn't have the pace, I thought, because the guys ahead were battling and I was sort of struggling. I was just keeping with them, and that was about it. And I don't know, there was a few times like at the oak tree, a couple laps in a row I just got it a bit wrong, just couldn't get the car turned in. I probably was over driving a bit maybe, but it was a little bit annoying. But in the end up probably 8th and 9th was probably as good as I could have gotten after that restart, because the guys there were slightly faster regardless. The best I could have done was probably hold off the end, and maybe it was better, because if I'd actually been up there I may have ended up getting caught in that incident with Jones and Borgie, so maybe it was for the for good rather than bad. But as I said, top 10's great, and just keeps those points going, which is great. Hopefully put me up a few more spots, so it'll be good. And the standings, I think I'm 14th at the moment. Obviously I missed a couple of the enduros, so there's a few points opportunities that went there, but it was alright. VIR is I don't mind. It's obviously tough and tight, but it seems to do okay for me. So it was good fun all up, and I had some great battles, which is I guess the key thing for me. As long as I can have fun, have some good battles, and it's a worthwhile race to me. Yeah,
definitely, mate. And now we're likely to see you competing next week with the double header at Lime Rock.
Adrian Ross double header. Probably if I'm around, as always. If I'm around, I always tend to like to race. If I'm around for sure. Lime Rock in V8s. I can see it being interesting. If you have a large grid, there could be some shenanigans, especially being sprint races or shorter races. So we'll see. If I'm around for sure, I'd be keen to do it as always, and fingers crossed there can be good results. But not really sure what to expect with these things around Lime Rock. It'll be a handful, I guess. But it should be quite something. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now, before we let you go, mate, did you want to give a shout out to any sponsors or any of the likes?
Yeah, of course. Shout out, of course, to major sponsors Edge Auto and GTI and Kyani. Obviously, great having them aboard with the team, and obviously the livery, especially on the V8s. All three of them, I think, are fantastic liveries. Obviously, run the Edge Auto because it's Ford only. Ford better. Great, big thanks to them for being on the cars and backing us. Always really nice to have, and makes us look very nice indeed there out on track in the V8s and all the other series as we compete in. And I guess just again, as always, I always do, but as the team as well, always great support from those guys with setup work and just general support. So big thanks to all those guys, and I guess just thanks as well to everyone who raced tonight. It was obviously it's never going to be a perfect race all the time. There'll be incidents in every single race, especially in V8s. Just big thanks to everyone that came along, because it was it's a really great event, a great fun race. And hopefully have more of the same next week.
Well, thanks very much, Thomas, for dropping in, and I say best of luck for the race next week if you're in there, and congratulations again on a good top 10 result for yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel, and thanks, guys, for the broadcast as always. Great stuff.
No worries. Bernie, final thoughts, mate. How do you think the racing went tonight, and have you got any final thoughts you want to have as well?
I thought the racing was really good. It had potential for having a lot of carnage. We did have quite a few retirements earlier on, but definitely settled down. Good, hard, strong sprint racing. and good racing between Luke Harvey and Ian Ford. I guess the biggest mover and shaker, we've already covered that off, that was Matt Stratford, and coming home fourth, so great drive from him as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, we've said it all night. It was a great result by the Evolution guys. They've locked out top three, and they say Stratty with 30 place haul that he got. That's phenomenal effort, especially around this circuit. So, I guess we look forward now to the enduros and stuff that we've got planned, and then the next round for the V8s.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Monday night, as I said earlier, we've got the Monday night lights. Come and join us, 9:15 p.m. It's an official strength of field, Aussie strength of field race, so it's done and dusted within 40 minutes. Then, of course, next Sunday we've got another 10-hour to cover for the Australian Sports Car Championship, so that should be a lot of fun. You'll get the first 4 hours, last 4 hours on RRTV live, so if you like your enduros, join us for that. But the only other thing I want to do is give a shout out to all the Aussie teams running tonight in the Blancpain Endurance series, and folks, if you want to look at that broadcast live and cheer them on, jump onto iRacing, and no doubt it'll be covered live by Racebot TV.
Yeah, definitely, and they do a good job over there too. So, jump on board, give the local boys a good bit of support. I think what have we got? We've got Evolution and Mad Cows are probably some of the bigger ones that we've got racing in there at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's I know there's another couple of teams in there as well, and just can't remember them now. But there's quite a good Aussie showing there, so it's well worth watching, especially if you like your GT3 action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but apart from that, Daniel, what was your thoughts on tonight's race?
Well, I thought it was always going to be difficult, that first lap. 40 plus car field out there, so to have the limited number of retirements we did have, the guys drove exceptionally well. Evolution racing team, they dominated again, and we found out good strategy goes a long way in this field, and it's even good just to see some of the other teams that we don't see probably as often up inside that top 10 as well. So all in all, I think the boys did phenomenal.
They certainly do. There's one team we totally missed tonight. They're just not here, and that's Synergy Sim Racing. So I'm not sure where they've gone. I know for V8 Scops they had some practice on tonight, so maybe they're focusing on that this weekend. But all the same though, ERT 1, 2 and 3, once again, they're showing their dominance. Yeah,
absolutely, and I mean, that's good. It gives the guys and the rest of the field a really good target to aim at and push to get ahead. So hopefully next few rounds we might see a little closer battling towards the top there, and I think the racing will definitely improve.
Definitely. And on that note, folks, it's the end of our broadcast. It's time for us to have a nice early Friday night for a change, which is going to be great. Don't know what I'm going to do with myself, Daniel, but anyway, mate, thanks for joining me in the Combox tonight. It's always a pleasure having you up here, and hopefully you've enjoyed it, and we'll have you back again very shortly.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was a great experience. I think might have to go pull a couple of graphics cards apart again and work out what's going on there. But no, thoroughly enjoyed it. Great racing from all, and like we normally say from most of the other guys here, yourself do phenomenal. Yeah,
and folks, if you're wondering what Daniel's talking about, his screen's been pixelated for just about this whole broadcast tonight, and like a trooper, he's hung in there and he's called it and pretty much tried to work out what all the colours meant. But excellent effort there, Daniel, and well done for hanging in there and keeping the broadcast going.
Yeah, thanks, mate. And one other mention we didn't have Bailey up in the box either, so hopefully we'll see him at the next event as well.
Yeah, definitely. Bailey had to work tonight, but I'm sure he'll be back very shortly to join us back up here in the Combox. But until then, folks, thanks for joining in. A big shout out to our overseas viewers. I know we have one from Spain watching tonight, so we hope you enjoyed the supercar action down here in Australia, and you'll come back and join us again. But on behalf of Daniel Leet, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great night and a great weekend, and we will catch you Monday night, 9:15 p.m. for the Skip Barber Monday Night Lights. Good night.